And they were clearly having a lot of that. As Tollefson hit the road after his compulsory 15-minute stopover, the sun started warming proceedings up ever so slightly. And then the BMW got its marching orders for the ride home too. Tollefson and Quinn were putting together a command performance. With a little two-door diesel Pajero sailing along at its own clip, managing the rocky and undulating parts very well. The Zermattens from the East Rand were also going solidly and were just 90-odd seconds off Tollefson's pace in the first leg and not far off it in the first half of the second stage either. The Whites were setting the second fastest time for the day's racing in the invitational event, while Van Tonder and Kopa were letting it all hang out on top of the mountain. Besaidnout and Locke were next, with the Amatole 500 participants Michael Whitehouse and Dean Langton in the Regent Pat trying to find a way past. Tollefson and Quinn, though, were dominating the African Heritage Cross-Country Race's second stage completely. They were ahead by almost 20 minutes at this stage and getting further ahead with every turn of the wheel. A very impressive drive. And the one good thing about that for Brazil's Paulo Nobre and his Portuguese navigator Felipe Palmeiro and their X-Raid BMW X3 was that there was no dust in front of them. The Whites were through next, and they were obviously relishing their chance to compete next to the overseas teams and big names. While the other sibling team in the invitational event, the Zermattens, were doing a good job with the Ryobi Nissan, even though they've been plagued by small problems that have bedeviled their 2007 campaign. Van Tonder and Kopa were making the Ford Ranger sing to their tune, and they were playing sweet music to go along with it. With Besaidnout and Locke also in full cry on the way home. Besaidnout is a former bike racer, so he knows how to read the terrain, and it shows in his fine driving. At the line after stage one, it was Tollefson and Quinn in the Nissan Navara who brought it home in 7 hours and 9 minutes, and that gave them a healthy 30-minute lead over the men in the X-Ray Beamer in second. For the locals, the Whites held sway by just 6 minutes over the Zermattens.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA. Oh, finance from ABSA, going the extra mile to get you financed.
This is High Octane's review of the African Heritage Cross Country in East London, and after the second leg there was some serious repair work to be done, and there was still a lot of work to be done out on the road too.
Yeah, tomorrow's a whole different game. Now it's pretty similar to what they do in Dakar. Now you've just got an Ono and Ato. You know, it's just a case of keeping it together, driving a long distance, getting it to the end.
The Nissan crew needed a replacement windscreen after Tollefson and Quinn connected a tree, while the BMW lads were rather casual after a good day out on the bush tracks of the Eastern Cape. For Ramon Besaidnout, there was just no letting up though.
Nee, ons gaan op die passie wat ons gery het, ons gaan presies net so aan. Ons gaan probeer om die pas te hou. Jy weet, obviously het ons 'n bietjie voordeel nou. Ons weet hoe lyk die roete en goed is nou, so ja, dit behoort seker net beter te gaan.
The Italians were quietly going about their business, enjoying themselves with just the finish in mind. While the Rurikon camp had the Whites well placed in their back, still David didn't quite know why he'd got out of bed that morning.
I don't know this morning. After yesterday I really enjoyed it, but I don't know why I'm doing this morning. But as soon as I get started, I'll know why. It's just lovely driving the car. It was nice to rain yesterday. I really enjoyed it. And we're just going to go for the fun today. We've proved what we wanted to prove yesterday, and we had a nice result, and just want to enjoy it today.
Others knew exactly why.
We do motorsport because we love it, and we've got the opportunity here to compete against the international competitors. And I mean, it's an opportunity once a year we've got, so that's why we're making use of that.
Tollefson and Evans were certainly taking advantage of it and were completely in control with 2 more days and more than 800 Ks to go. With the X-Ray BMW making full use of the only motorsport event in South Africa this year that will count towards a World Series of any sort. The Beamer battled a flat and minor technical niggles late on the first stage, which set them back, but they seem to have that sorted out on stage 3. The Italians were still doing what they did from the word go and were solidly batting away, going at a steady, if unspectacular clip. The Whites were also committed, but at the same time realized that they needed to conserve the Rubicon bat to get it to the end, and that's what they tried to do. The Zermattens, meanwhile, having finished 10th overall and winning Class D in the Amatole 500, ran into mechanical failure and had to call it quits. While the Ford Ranger's interior obviously was just too warm for one's hands as Van Tonder and Guapa charged by. And Besaidnout and Locke kept going well in the longest event they've tackled so far. At DSP, the locals were watching in awe as mechanics and drivers went at it in 15 minutes to get the cars ready for the long haul home. And as each one of the contenders in the 6 different classes came in for service, there was a sigh of relief as the pit crews knew that their charges were okay and that they could still go to work. And still the temperatures on top of the Amatole mountain was freezing. The weatherman for once was right. It just did not let up, and the cold front had all of South Africa in its freezing grip. Still, and to a certain degree, it did help that the cars then didn't overheat. Onto the homeward journey, the Nissan Navara crew plastered